Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for being here. My name is Andrew, coming to you from the beautiful Carolinas. Today's topic is going to be the rise of the empath. Think about that for a minute. Everyone, if you like the content, please like, subscribe, and share. So on the channel, frequently I mention empathy. Empathy is a superpower. If you are empathetic, you are an amazing individual. That means that many times, and there are different levels of empathy, but if you have a high degree of empathy, it means that you can walk into a room and sense the pulse of the room within a matter of moments. That means you can feel someone's emotions and what is going through them just by reading their face and watching their body language and the way they use their words. Now, again, other people can do the same thing, but the difference here is empathy is emotions. It is an emotional feeling that you get. You can't place your finger on it, but if you have empathy, you know what I'm talking about. Now, in the narcissistic abusive relationship, the narcissist many times looks for vulnerable people and or perhaps empaths, people who can feel things, people that can sense things, people that want to not quit, not the people that don't want to give up on a relationship, and people that have core beliefs. And that many times these individuals, and most likely it's you who I'm speaking about, you want to help other individuals out. In other words, if you can contribute to the betterment of society, that's what you do. And pre-narcissistic relationship, most likely you were a people pleaser. You were a yes person. You most likely didn't have boundaries and you didn't know how to say no, which is the strongest word in the English language, and that's okay. That was you. That was the first version of you. The second version of you, again, remember, is when you're in the narcissistic relationship, and the third version of you, which is the best version of you, is the version of you once you've healed post-narcissistic relationship. But getting back on track, the rise of the empath, what this means is throughout the relationship with the narcissist, maybe it was your sibling, maybe it was your mom or dad, aunt, uncle, neighbor, coworker, lover, friend, whomever, a person, a part of a community or an organization that you're a member of or were a member of, but you were working to build that relationship up and you were doing your best. You were giving to a fault, and you, whether you knew it or not, were not on the receiving end of empathy. What you are is you are on the receiving end many times of manipulation, of lies or destruction or devastation or untruths or partial truths or no truths. Why I'm saying that is because there comes a moment in time in most empaths' existence, or certainly anyone who's gone through the narcissistic abusive cycle, this pertains to you as well. But that's when you stand up for yourself and you finally say, no, I'm not going to be available to you. No, I'm not going to tolerate that poor behavior. No, I'm not going to give you a ride to the airport at 11:30 at night when it's pitch black outside and there's gale force winds, and you could easily get an Uber, things like that. Or no, I'm not going to be home and make myself available to you 7 nights a week so you can talk my ear off and or use me as a sounding board so you can vent and dump all of your toxicity on me. And all I do is sit there and absorb it and say, yes, I understand. Wow, that's rough. What about this, this, this? That is a person, the last example I mentioned to you, who wants to use you as a sounding board. It doesn't mean they're a narcissist. What it does mean, though, is they're a person that is trying to steal and or manipulate your time. And that is an energy vampire. And when the empath rises up, that means that you, perhaps this does pertain to you, that you, the person watching the video, and again, thank you very much for being here, you're not going to be available for those weekly phone calls, or you're not going to be available just because somebody carved out time to make time for you in their busy 24-hour period. It doesn't mean that you have to be available when they want you to be available. In other words, let's say that somebody wants to meet you. They want to get your wisdom or your counsel, or want to run some things past you, or they want to borrow money, whatever they want. And they say, hey, let's meet up Thursday at 4 o'clock. I'm free then. And you're like, you're used to saying, yeah, no problem, sure, whatever you want, I'll help you out. And you're available at 4 o'clock. Well, this becomes a pattern, and then now you get the wisdom. And this is the rise of the empath. This is when they say to you again, hey, let's meet up Thursday at 4 o'clock. I want to run some things past you. And you're like, I don't think so. I think I'm occupied at that hour. Maybe next week. What do you think about that? And then they're like, what are you talking about? You're always available Thursday at 4. Well, I'm not available now. Circumstances have changed. In other words, I now have the awakening, and I am now aware, and I have the wisdom, and I will no longer be loaning you money or being available just because you make time to meet me. You see, it should be the other way around, meaning, I make time to meet you. It should be the other way around. Anyone that fits into your life, specifically post-narcissistic relationship once you've healed, and specifically to inhibit toxic energy vampires from infiltrating your life, These people need to jump through hoops. They need to prove themselves to you. And this can be anybody. It can be a neighbor, a family member, a friend, whomever. If people have let you down in the past, in other words, they weren't there to support you in your times of need, then I am not saying why should you be there for them. I'm not saying that. I'm saying if you want to be there for them and you believe it's a reciprocal, healthy relationship, do it. However, do it on your time. You don't have to do things in other people's times. That's what you did when you were in the narcissistic relationship. Remember, you were walking around on eggshells, you were being gaslit, given the silent treatment. You most likely experienced the smear campaign and or triangulation or both. You dealt with rage fits. You were in the trauma bond probably, which is the most difficult thing to break free from known to humankind on this planet, but you did it and or you are doing it and you're getting stronger and you're healing and you're moving forward each and every day. This is the rise of the empath. If you are an empath, remember, this is a superpower. Many people try to tear down the empath and say being an empath is weak. Why are you crying? Why are you showing emotions? Why are you the way you are? It's because that is natural to you and it's a blessing. It is what makes you you. And remember, the narcissist tried to change this. They tried to destroy you. They tried to steal your empathy away from you and utilize it as a weapon against you, just like they tried to take everything from you, all of your resources. The point being, when you actually identify that most people on the planet are not like you, and if you are an empath and you have come through the narcissistic abusive cycle, I can assure you this has changed you for the better. It really has. You now know that empathy can be weaponized against you until you get the wisdom on channels like mine and many others. And again, thank you very much for being here. But now you're coupling your experience, your education, and your empathy together with the narcissistic abusive cycle. And what does that make? That makes a newfound superpower that you've had all along, but it had yet to be unearthed. And now it is unearthed. And this is your abundance. This is just one thing that makes you you. So empathy, it's not a weakness. It shouldn't be frowned upon. It shouldn't be made fun of. The reason people make fun of empathy or try to weaponize it against you is because they don't possess it and they want it for themselves. And again, if you were in the relationship with the narcissist certainly did possess your empathy to a degree for the length of the relationship, but no longer is that the case. Or at least my hope is you're exiting the relationship and you're not giving them your attention and your empathy. But empathy is a superpower, and the rise of the empath is when you finally understand your worth. Perhaps you grew up in a childhood environment where it wasn't instilled upon you how beautiful you were and that you could do anything and the sky's the limit for you. Perhaps you grew up in a more difficult household where you didn't have parental support, or you didn't have a support system, or you were told that you would not amount to anything, i.e. you just didn't have people supporting you. And I'm not downplaying that, I get it. But if you couple that with looking at how far you've come in life, perhaps you're a business owner, perhaps you're married, perhaps you have kids, perhaps you have grandkids, perhaps you're falling in love now, perhaps you graduated college for the first time in your family. In other words, you're the first member that graduated college. Perhaps you started a business, perhaps you started a school. Who knows? You wrote a book. Doesn't matter what you've done. The point is you're doing it, you're living it. These are positive things. So the rise of the empath is when the empath officially puts the narcissist in the rearview mirror and understands that your empathy was a fuel source for the narcissist. Whether you were married, whether it was a friendship, a sibling, a family member, a person in the community or organization, the narcissist is drawn to an empath like a moth to a flame. You are the flame. You've always been the flame. The moth was trying to extinguish your flame. Now, in real life, can a moth extinguish a flame? Can't. What will happen if it gets too close to the flame? That's right, it's going to get burned. That's why the narcissist, i.e. the moth, flies as close to the flame as possible, always trying to take, always trying to extinguish, always trying to dim the flame. And that's what it tries to do, but it can never accomplish it. Why? Because you're on the channel. You're healing, you're growing, you're learning, you're teaching, you're becoming awakened and aware. You are amazing and blessed. And if you are an empath, God bless you. If you're just discovering, for example, that you're an empath, and this is the first video you're watching on empathy, this is beautiful. You have no idea what's ahead of you. So much growth and abundance and beauty is just in your future. It's right ahead of you. To fully harness and grasp the rise of the empath, you must place the narcissist in the past. You must block them, go no contact, delete them, and remove all flying monkeys and people associated with the narcissist. Are you still going to have empathy if you don't do all those things? Absolutely. I am just suggesting for this video, if you're able to do all of those things and really get away from the toxicity of the narcissistic energy. That will allow you to glow, to blossom, to become the abundant person that you are and you have always meant to be. Now, if you can't do those things, understand that gray rock is your path, which means you need to become boring and not communicate with the narcissist about any information or whereabouts or what's going on in your life. Just become boring. And you may have to use that if you share a child together, or if you have to work with them or something like that. But understand, what is the narcissist mission? It's to extract from you and other unsuspecting individuals who don't know anything about narcissism. Now that you're getting the wisdom or you have the wisdom, you're understanding your value. And if you are an empath, God bless you, you're amazing. If you're not an empath, doesn't matter. You're still beautiful. We are all human beings. We all have special characteristics that make us us. That's just the way it is. Example, I can't go run a marathon right now if I wanted to. Can't do it. Would I like to? Absolutely, but I can't. But what can I do? I can offer my empathy to those people, loved and trusted ones around me, that can benefit from it. But do I offer my empathy just to people that are trying to consume it from me? Absolutely not. Those days are long over. You see, I am not a people pleaser now. I am not a yes person. I know how to say the word no. I know how to have boundaries. I know where I belong, and I know exactly what I'm capable of. And perhaps I also know that coming through the narcissistic abusive cycle, that is the most challenging thing you'll ever come through. And do I want to experience that again? No, you shouldn't either. But your empathy is beautiful. And when you've risen through the ashes like a phoenix, and you've come through the narcissistic abusive cycle and put yourself back together and climbed to that mountaintop, the pinnacle of indifference, that's when your empathy shines. That's when you're in the third version of yourself. That's when the abundance is all around you and flowing. And that's when you vibrate as high as possible. And you will do it if you're not doing it now. So understand this. Empathy is a superpower. If you couple empathy with you coming through the narcissistic abusive cycle, it's a superpower on steroids. If you couple those things together and understand that people have been trying to take your empathy from you your whole life and perhaps making fun of it, again, it's a superpower times a billion, because you have something that others want. You have something others don't possess. You are blessed and abundant and beautiful. Believe in yourself. If not now, when? So guys, that's the video. I hope you liked it. I loved doing it from the beautiful Carolinas. This is Andrew. Namaste. Have a great evening, afternoon, or morning, no matter where you are on the planet. And remember, you are not alone. Continue to focus on yourself. Continue to be the best version of yourself. Continue to improve and to understand that you are amazing, beautiful, blessed, and abundant. I will talk to you tomorrow. And if you're wondering what that magic potion is in the background, that is a diffuser. I have it for my new condo, and it is incredible. Love you guys. I'll talk to you tomorrow. All right, bye.